Good morning or afternoon, everyone. This is Jeffrey from Parker Dewey. We will let the Zoom room populate.
We're also
Chris,
a moment or so early, so we'll let folks who are like myself, usually late to webinars, get to show up as well.
how much time do you think we spend each year waiting for Zoom rooms to start?
Way more now than we did 5 years ago, that's for sure.
This is true.
Maybe not 5 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been 5 years.
It's been 5 years. I was going to say what Zoom should have a feature that lets you see how much time you spend waiting for the Zoom rooms to populate, and another one to see how many times we need to ask people to unmute or to mute over
Mhm.
the course of a year.
Or if you work with students, turn on your video.
Ooh, that's a good one.
See, college professor days, that's yeah, brings me back. But I
Good
was
to
that
see.
we're yeah, good to see some folks. And sorry for the chit chat in the beginning here. We'll give folks another few seconds here because I think we're right at the top of the hour.
And I think Zoom was doing an update this morning from an earlier call I was on. So for
Bless their
people
hearts.
that are Teams users or Meets, it's good to see some familiar faces here.
Well, we'll go ahead and get started because I can see that we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to everyone. My name is Kristen Schrader. It's my privilege to lead the partnerships team here at Parker Dewey, which basically means that I have the opportunity to work with mostly colleges, universities, nonprofit organizations, some of whom may have invited you to today's session. But organization, or, excuse me, schools and partners that are excited about sharing micro-internships as an additional opportunity to engage, recruit, and get to know their students. At the end of the day, colleges and universities, they want their students to end up in some really great opportunities with companies like yours. And I know, my career started in HR and did some early career recruiting, so I'm very familiar with the challenges that many of you might be facing. There's really a lot going on right now in around the world, you name the topic, but the challenges of finding the next great hire for your team, from what we hear from companies, isn't going away. And if anything, the pressure is on even more to make sure that your organization is doing so as effectively and efficiently and cost effectively as possible. And so, to that end, really excited to have this opportunity to share with you a little bit about our approach to helping you recruit the next generation of students and early career professionals to your organization. So, going to tell you just a little bit about who Parker Dewey is if you're not familiar. And then it's my privilege to pass the mic over to my colleague, Jeffrey Moss, who is our founder and CEO, who will walk you through how it all works. So just to give you just a tad bit more of a background, I see. So want to just kind of first illustrate our logo. You might notice right away is a Venn diagram because we have three primary stakeholders that we are here and excited to support: students, organizations, employers such as yourself who want to recruit these awesome students, and then our partners, broadly defined, so the schools and nonprofit organizations that I get to interact with day in and day out. But I want to focus on you all and how micro internships and our solution can help you access, engage, assess, and ultimately hire these early career challenges. Now, our method of doing this is what we call a micro internship, which in essence is a short term paid professional project that allows you to get to know these early career students. So, students, recent grads, they might be folks who have pursued other things, maybe prior military, or other folks who have done other things and are now pursuing education to change careers or to do something different. They also and typically are going to be the traditional aged or folks who are pursuing associate and bachelor's degrees at colleges and universities nationwide. But our goal is to help you get to know these students through real world engagements that add value to your organization while also allowing you a meaningful example of what they can bring to your team that goes much deeper than what you can assess from a resume an interview even, and some potential other solutions that you're using. So to that end, to tell you how it all works again, I'm going to pass the mic over to my colleague, Jeffrey Moss.
No, thank you so much, Kristen. And as she said, it's a real honor to be here. So let's start with some of the challenges. And again, these are all things people know about. So we'll try to gloss through this. I mean, at the end of the day, early career recruiting is broken. 71% of students are saying that the process does not allow them to effectively demonstrate skills. And we're hearing the same thing, by the way, from the employers. Employers are finding that it's really hard to tease out if someone, not just can they program in a certain language or do they understand the basics of accounting or can they use Excel, but it's also those core skills, the problem solving, attention to detail, communication, etc. And as a result, it's leading to massive turnover in the first year. Another thing that's been really interesting is how the cost per hire at the early career level has just continued to increase over and over and over. Right now, NACE reports it's over $6,000 per hire. Again, we talk with companies that are significantly higher, but according to the NACE average, it's at 6 grand. And you put that on top of the fact that you see that massive turnover with those new hires, it's a huge investment. It's a huge investment. Part of what we're trying to do is create a model that allows organizations to essentially engage and assess candidates earlier in the process to allow them to make better hiring decisions. And to be clear, this does not replace or does not need to replace your existing hiring strategy. As we'll show you, it fits right into your strategy. It's not about filling roles, it's about building that talent pipeline. So if we go to that next slide, the whole concept behind what we do is exactly plugging in. It's helping companies, again, build that awareness. So, for instance, you might be an accounting firm, and college students think the only roles in an accounting firm are for accountants. And obviously, accounting firms are looking to build those relationships with the future CPAs, but they also have roles in finance and marketing and strategy and HR. How do you build awareness of those opportunities? It could even be when you're recruiting the accounting students. How do you let them know the benefits of your firm versus some of the other ones that are out there? It's about assessing skills. Again, using this to more effectively understand, to my earlier point, if someone's the right fit, not just from a technical perspective, but also from those core skills. Another key thing we're hearing is keeping candidates engaged. So for those of you who are invited to join this session by university partners, we're not trying to replace those relationships. We think they're incredibly valuable. But think about all of those times that you're on campus, at a career fair, at an info session, meeting maybe first and second year students, and you're only offering summer internships to juniors or only hiring sort of seniors and recent grads. How do you keep those students engaged during that period? Or maybe it is the junior who you've offered the summer internship. For those of you involved in NACE, you see there's a lot of discussion about renegs and ghosting with their new hires. Again, keeping those candidates engaged and those prospective new hires engaged is key. And then it's ultimately about having that on-demand pipeline available when you need it. So what is our secret sauce to all of this? It's this concept of the micro-internship. And again, just real quick, the way we define micro-internships are short-term paid professional projects that are completed on demand by college students or recent grads. And again, college students broadly defined to include 2-year, 4-year boot camp, workforce programs, et cetera. And just to unpack this a little bit, and again, you can see this on the screen and we'll share the slides afterwards. The way we define micro-internships are not 6-month projects or 2-month projects or whatnot. These are short term. These are projects that are typically requiring the student to do between 10 and 40 hours of work. So again, very bite-sized, and they're tied to a specific project. So this is not, we need a marketing micro intern. It is, we need someone to research and draft an article on a specific topic. Perfect example, again, defined deliverable, something that takes 10 to 40 hours for the student to do. Doesn't require access to any of your internal systems or sensitive data. They're able to complete these projects on their own. as we said, they can be done year round because we know there's always projects that come up that are perfect for a summer intern, but gosh, they don't start for another couple weeks, or it's the wrong time of year, or maybe we don't have a summer intern or a full-time hire. So again, these are on-demand real projects. They're also paid. And I really want to hit this. This is important. The average micro internship, again, costs an organization between $200 and $600, of which 90% goes to the student. The reason they're paid is beyond the fairness. It ensures they're accessible to everyone. It ensures you're not artificially limiting your candidate pool to just students who can afford to do unpaid work. Again, what that does is it hurts your organization. It causes you to miss out on high potential, perfect candidates. So if we go to the next slide, we can show you how we actually have seen companies essentially unpack those full-time roles or internships into micro internships. And this is something we've been doing for 10 years, so we're happy to do this. And just to give you an example, on the left, you can see a job description for an entry-level data marketer role. Again, it's a common role. So many companies have this. Well, what's a perfect micro internship? It might be a competitive campaign analysis. You're going to have a student go out and research competitors and pull data on how relative campaigns are performing, et cetera, et cetera. Again, perfect example because it doesn't require you to share any info. It doesn't require you to onboard. The student can do it on their own using public information and other sources to tease it out. And what it's doing as a hiring tool is it's letting you engage that student that might be really interested in marketing, but isn't considering a consulting firm, isn't considering working for a convention center, isn't considering working at a global Fortune 500 manufacturing firm because they don't realize they're hiring for data marketing. But what it also helps you do is tease out those skills. As I said, it could include hard skills, like can they do the marketing research, but also those other core skills that we know are so vital. Again, creative thinking, presentation, etc. And that's really a key aspect of this entire process is it helps assess skills throughout the process itself. It's building the assessment into it. So again, every step along the way, companies are getting insights into those skills. When the students are applying for these micro internships, you're able to see, are they a self-starter? Do they have attention to detail? Are they interested in your organization? For those students you select, how are they communicating along the way? Are they demonstrating sort of an empathy in understanding why you're asking for the project? Are they taking feedback? Are they delivering it on time? Again, all of those core skills we know make the difference between a great hire and someone that might not be as much of a fit, but they're so difficult to assess from the traditional recruiting process. And even the work product itself, when you see the deliverable, are they showing, again, attention to detail? Are they showing the intellectual curiosity and professionalism? And to the extent there's a more technical skill involved, you're able to see how well they can use Power BI to create a data visualization. Now, what's key about this is it works for students and employers. Back to Kristen's point before, fits clearly within that Venn diagram of win-win. As we've seen, 95% of college students, 95% said this is how they want to be recruited. So think about all of the effort spent about where do we want to host a dinner or how often should we be sending emails or any of those other things, trying to figure out how to engage students. Our view is meet the students where they're at. They're raising their hands saying this is how they want to be recruited. As we alluded to, they're saying the traditional process doesn't work. The other thing that really jumped out at me is 75% of college students said they want to start beginning career exploration during their first and second year. So again, they go to your info session, they go to your career fair booth, but then there's no opportunities to let them actually learn about your company beyond that until they're juniors. And oftentimes they've made up their mind elsewhere. Or for those students that may not even be coming to the info session because they haven't heard of your organization or they have preconceived notions. Again, these micro internships plug right in to engage. And what I also love is they work for employers. With the single platform, employers can reach learners from over 5,900 post-secondary programs. Again, community colleges, four-year schools, boot camps, and other training and workforce programs, veterans. Again, we love this. This is an equitable, open to all platform. Again, to be clear, it doesn't replace what the colleges are doing on site with the various job boards. Again, always going to be posting full-time roles or internships or whatever on those. But this is a single place to really build that funnel and start to build those relationships. I'm also proud of the fact that over 80% of the students selected on micro-internships, over 80%, come from populations underrepresented in the workforce. And I know DEI is a hot button topic right now. And again, one of the things I'm proud of is when we talk about underrepresented populations, we're not just talking about racial or ethnic diversity, but also things like veteran, also things like first generation college student, Pell eligible. This is truly creating a pipeline that helps organizations find the best talent for the roles, the best talent for the roles. That's key. That's key. What's also great about it, to the comment before about the retention rate of new hires, one of the things we found is that 98% of students who complete micro internships stay at the same company when they accept a full-time role at least a year. 98%. Again, that's incredible. So it's driving a lower cost per hire, better conversion, better engagement, better experience. And by the way, when they're joining an organization, they're sticking around. I'm going to turn it back over to Kristen to talk about a really exciting program that's taking place right now. That's a perfect opportunity for organizations to see this in action.
Yeah, so we have, as I mentioned before, these partnerships not only with higher education institutions, but also with nonprofit organizations, some of which are pictured as their logos at the bottom of the slide. And the reason that they are highlighted is that they believe in the mission of what we are trying to do and trying to create a more equitable pathway from college to career for these students, and then for your organization to help you have a more robust pool of applicants to choose from and truly choose the most qualified candidates. Now, these organizations have partnered with us and provided funding for organizations like yours to be able to host micro internships at no cost to your company. Now, every one of these programs, they do have, as grants and so on are typically work. They do have their own rules and set parameters. But the key take home here is this is a really great opportunity to again give this a try at no cost to your organization and really reach this talented population of students, and again, and at no cost, on demand. This is something that, as we're having this conversation in early May, it is not too early or too late to try this, because this is something that we see year-round demand for, especially for companies that may already have a pool of interns joining their organization this summer. Fantastic. There's probably a few hiring managers that are still coming to you with various needs. This is an opportunity where they can participate in this and engage this talented population of students. And so what this Gigs for Good opportunity allows you to do is, again, try out micro-internships at no cost. And for those of you who have an interest in engaging students at scale, are really excited about using this to the full advantage as a recruiting tool, we also have a free trial where you can not only have some micro internships, so help your organization see these students' skills in action, but also have access to a ton of really valuable and actionable data about these students, about where they go to school, about their hometown, about where they might be from, about their demographics, about the feedback that your hiring managers, your peers, are giving about their performance. And as you can see from the data here, this is really helping you, as they're in the human resources space, to be able to assess who is the top talent that we should be adding to our hiring pipeline for those open internship or full-time roles. Maybe they're immediate needs that you have right now. Maybe they are the pipeline that will help you set up yourself and your organization for success and start building your class of 2026 and beyond hires. And so again, this is all something, great opportunity for you. We'd love to help you get started. So I'll pass once again to Jeffrey, who can kind of walk you through the last couple of action steps.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. First, as Kristen said, it's kind of it's kind of a no-brainer to try this out right now through the generous support of a variety of organizations. Again, you can see um, if everything we talked about is as easy as we said. The internal term for everything, by the way, is Jeff-proof. Everything we do has to be super simple for you. And again, it's even more so now than more than ever because of those generous organizations. So whether it's trying to quote unquote figure out AI and where it fits within your organization or how other organizations are using AI for sales. Again, perfect opportunity through the generous support of IBM. If it's something tied to specific colleges or you have an early access program, again, this is a perfect opportunity. You can use the QR code at the top or the link Kristen shared in the chat. All that said, we love talking with organizations. Everything we've discussed today didn't come from our heads. These aren't hypothetical. This is all based upon conversations we've had with organizations about their challenges, whether it's around how do we more effectively assess? How can we make sure we're spending time interviewing the right candidates? How do we target candidates who might be from our region but attend school elsewhere, even if we can't visit all of the schools to recruit? How do we build our employer brand? Again, we love having these discussions. So we're also happy to meet with you one-on-one and talk about some of the challenges you're facing and share some of the best practices we've seen and what works and what doesn't. Again, whether it's tied to Parker Dewey or not, we've been doing this a while and we have some pretty good insights. So again, we really welcome the opportunity to talk with you and be supportive with whatever your goals are. So with that, any questions from the audience? Again, feel free to use the chat. Otherwise, Kristen and I are going to take it as we just did an amazing job. Wow, Kristen, I think you were amazing.
Well, folks, this is your opportunity, whatever questions. But yes, good question here about, is this applicable to MBA students? Absolutely.
Yeah.
MBA and any graduate program that might be of interest to you. We've actually seen organizations who have done programs specifically targeting MBA students, and whether that's at one institution, they want to deepen a partnership with that particular school, or if it's MBA students at large. So yes.
Well, and the nice thing is you have control. We are not trying to guess what your goals are or what your needs are. If you're trying to focus on MBA students, great. If you're interested in engaging students who are, to my earlier example, from St. Louis, but go to school around the country, awesome. If you're interested in getting to know sophomores, perfect. Again, we really tailor these programs to fit with what you're doing. And one of the things I get most excited about is it's easy. Again, this doesn't replace the summer internship, doesn't replace the co-op, doesn't replace sort of the relationships you're building with the schools or the capstone projects or anything else. This is designed to be a valuable, easy complement. As one of the college students described it, and it was less creepy when she said it this way versus an old married guy like me, is think about the micro internship like going on a date, where the traditional process, we're asking students and employers to jump right into the engagement, the 10-week summer internship, the semester long co op, the semester long capstone. Again, really valuable. But again, it's like getting engaged without ever going on a date. Micro internships let you, again, have these low stakes, low risk experiences. I mean, one of the things we've seen, just to put some real numbers on it, because I alluded to the cost per hire before, we'll see companies say, we're actively looking for a summer intern for our HR team. Let's post a micro internship. The project might be evaluating best practices for new hire onboarding. We might have 4 students do the project. Let's post the project. They get X number of applicants. They get 100, 200 applicants, whatever it is. Let's pick 4 to do the project. Let's pay them each, again, to keep the math simple, $250. You have 4 students do the project. Maybe of the 4, one of them sort of meh. One of the students might say, do you know what? Not the right fit for me. Okay. There's 2 who are great. Of those 2, you decide to interview. You make 1 full-time hire or 1 summer intern hire. Your cost per hire relative to the NACE average is 80% less. 80% less. Again, based upon making 1 hire. The data also suggests that you'll save, again, 40, 50, 60% of the time. The data also shows that if they turn into a full-time hire, they're going to stick around. It's a really, really, really effective tool. And you're able to do this without managing a bunch of different systems or tools or having to fly around or fly a bunch of people in. Again, this becomes an incredibly effective, efficient resource for you as a core part of your early career program. Again, that's why one of the reasons I'm so excited about the free trial. The other thing I would just keep in mind is anyone on this call probably has a small project on their own plate, something they're trying to get done. Again, great opportunity to leverage the free trial to see if it's as easy as we said. Any other questions?
Just want to piggyback on one other point that you made, Jeffrey, and just to emphasize that again, these projects are all paid. And so just if you are thinking about this from the student's perspective, they're getting paid to do this real work. Great. But then this is also, those of you using this as a recruiting tool, this is also allowing them to kind of get paid throughout that process, which is just is a really, really great differentiator for you and your company to show the investment that you're willing to make in early career recruiting for to be able to attract this high caliber talent. It's a really great differentiator and a positive signal for students that, frankly, they're under a lot of stress and pressure with everything going on in the world right now. And so this is something that, again, is a really great way to showcase the values of your organization and the commitment that you would make to this prospective talent.
Awesome. With that, this will conclude the webinar. As Kristen alluded to, we'll be sending around recordings, links, slides, all of that fun stuff. Again, please don't be bashful. Feel free to use either or both of the QR codes on the screen. Let us know if you have questions. Let us know how we can help. Take advantage of the free trials. Again, through the very generous support of organizations like IBM, like Amazon, colleges and universities, the Kansas Board of Regents, Indiana Economic Development. There's so many of these great opportunities, and we'd love to be supportive however we can. Thank you so much for the time. Happy Friday Eve. I had to check my calendar to make sure it was Thursday.
Thank you all.